Welcome to the Scenario Podcast, your guide to mental health and well-being. Each episode, we uncover practical tools, discuss expert insights, and explore how supplements can transform your mental health journey. Get ready to learn, grow, and thrive with us.
Ever feel like you're totally drained at the end of the day? You're ready to just pass out, but then the second your head hits the pillow, your brain's like, party time. And suddenly you're wide awake, maybe scrolling on your phone, just wishing for a decent night's sleep.
Yeah, we've all been there.
Totally. And tonight, we're not talking about finding the perfect mattress or pillow. We're diving into something that might actually be the key, your evening routine.
It's like building a bridge,
Right.
from the craziness of the day to actually getting some solid rest.
Exactly. So we've got a ton of research and expert insights on this, and we're going to break it all down for you. We'll look at the science behind those evening habits, why some things we think are relaxing might actually be messing with our sleep, and most importantly, how to create an evening routine that really works.
It's all about setting yourself up for better sleep, less stress, and just feeling better overall.
Okay, so let's jump right in. Why is an evening routine so important? It seems like it should just kind of happen naturally.
You'd think so, right? But what's really interesting is how much our evening habits impact our biology, and specifically this thing called the circadian rhythm.
Okay, I've heard of that. It's like our body's internal clock, right?
Exactly. It's this master conductor that keeps all our bodily processes in sync. And a consistent evening routine sends a clear signal to that conductor like, hey, it's time to slow down, get ready for sleep.
So the routine creates this predictability that helps regulate our natural sleep cycle.
Exactly. And when we mess with that routine, our internal clock gets all out of whack.
Speaking of signals, one of the things that comes up a lot of the research is melatonin. That sleep hormone everyone's always talking about.
Right. Melatonin is like the body's natural time for bed signal. It starts to rise as it gets darker outside, telling us it's time to wind down.
Makes sense. But then we go and mess it all up with our phones and TVs right before bed.
Exactly. Think of it this way. You're trying to listen to a calming piece of music, but someone keeps shining a bright flashlight in your face.
Yeah, not very relaxing.
That's kind of what happens when we expose ourselves to those bright screens late at night. They emit blue light, which actually suppresses melatonin production.
So that late night Netflix binge might be doing more harm than good.
It definitely can. And the research really emphasizes dimming the lights in the evening and limiting screen time to let melatonin do its thing.
I've noticed that if I'm on my computer late at night, I have a harder time falling asleep.
Makes sense. And it's not just about melatonin. There's another hormone involved here called cortisol. It's the stress hormone.
Ah, cortisol. Not exactly known for its chill vibes.
Right. Ideally, cortisol levels should naturally drop in the evening to help us relax. But if we're doing stimulating activities or feeling stressed, cortisol can stay elevated.
So like answering work emails right before bed is probably a no-go.
Not the best idea. The research suggests doing calming activities like reading, stretching, or even some breathing exercises to help lower those cortisol levels.
So we're actively creating a calm environment to tell our bodies it's safe to unwind.
Exactly. And this sense of calm isn't just physical. It affects our mental and emotional state too.
I'd never thought about it that way, but it makes sense. A routine creates structure, and that structure can actually feel really comforting, like a safety net for our minds.
I think that's a great way to put it. Our minds tend to race at night, replaying the day or worrying about tomorrow. But having a consistent routine, especially one that includes mindful practices like journaling or gratitude reflection, can help us manage those thoughts and reduce anxiety.
It's like creating a dedicated space to process everything and settle down before sleep,
Exactly. And all of this leads to better sleep quality.
which in turn makes us feel more energized and focused the next day. It's a win-win.
It really is. When we give our bodies and minds those consistent cues, it's amazing how much better we sleep.
Okay, so we get why it matters. Now, let's talk about how to actually build a healthy evening routine. And the research we've got outlines a pretty clear step-by-step guide. The first step is setting a consistent sleep schedule.
This seems so basic, but it's honestly one of the most important things.
I know, I struggle with this myself. But the research is pretty clear that going to bed and waking up around the same time every day, even on weekends, is crucial.
It helps to keep that internal clock running smoothly. You're basically setting a regular tempo for your body. And the guide even suggests setting a wind-down alarm an hour before bed.
Oh, I like that, like a little reminder to start shifting gears.
Exactly. Okay, step 2 might be a bit harder for some people. Avoiding TV too late at night.
Yeah, I have a feeling this one might hit close to home for a lot of listeners, myself included. The research is pretty firm on this, right?
It is. I know it feels relaxing to watch TV after a long day, but those screens emit that blue light we talked about, which can interfere with melatonin and mess with our sleep cycle.
Right, we don't want to be fighting against our own biology here.
Yeah. Exactly. So the guidance is to finish watching TV at least an hour, ideally 90 minutes, before bed. And try to avoid anything too intense or stimulating like the news or thrillers. You don't want your heart racing right before you try to sleep.
So what are some good alternatives?
Reading a physical book is always a good option, or listening to a calming podcast or audiobook. Journaling can be really helpful too.
Yeah, those are all great ways to unwind without screens. And if you do watch TV, the guide suggests using blue light filters, keeping the volume low, and choosing more calming content.
Oh, and definitely avoid watching TV in bed. That creates a mental link between your bed and being awake, which can make it harder to fall asleep.
Okay, next step is all about creating a soothing wind-down ritual. This sounds like the part where we actually get to pamper ourselves a bit.
It is. And the best part is you can totally customize it to what feels good for you. The guide gives a bunch of ideas. A warm bath or shower, maybe with some lavender or chamomile essential oil.
Oh, those are so relaxing.
Right. Gentle stretching or light yoga can also help. And there's listening to calming sounds, journaling, practicing gratitude, or even just doing some mindfulness exercises.
And aromatherapy, right? Those scents like lavender and chamomile can really help set the mood.
Definitely. It's all about finding those activities that tell your body and mind it's time to slow down.
Okay, let's move on to what we're putting into our bodies in the evening, because the guide has some pretty specific recommendations on food and drinks.
Yeah, this is important. You'll definitely want to avoid caffeine in the hours leading up to bed. The guidance is to cut it off around 2 p.m. because it can stay in your system for a while.
Yeah, I've definitely learned that lesson the hard way.
And alcohol, while it might seem like it makes you sleepy, can actually disrupt your sleep later on.
So no nightcaps. Got it.
Right. And heavy or spicy meals too close to bedtime can cause indigestion and make it harder to fall asleep. The guide suggests lighter options like a banana with almond butter or some herbal tea if you need a snack.
Way healthier than my usual late-night snacking habits. Okay, step 5 is all about creating a sleep-conducive environment.
Turning your bedroom into a sanctuary, basically.
Exactly. The guide recommends keeping it cool, around 65 degrees, and making sure it's dark, whether that's using blackout curtains or an eye mask.
Minimizing clutter and distractions is key too, and white noise or calming music can help block out any annoying sounds.
We already talked about aromatherapy, but it's worth mentioning again here.
Absolutely, it can really add to that relaxing atmosphere. And here's a bonus tip. Make your bed in the morning. It sounds silly, but it can actually make your bedroom feel more calm and inviting when you come back to it at night.
I never thought about it that way, but it makes sense. Okay, the guide also emphasizes incorporating mindfulness and relaxation practices. We touched on this before, but what are some specific techniques people can try?
There are a ton of options. Deep breathing exercises like the 4-7-8 method or box breathing are amazing for calming the nervous system.
I've heard of those. They're supposed to be really effective.
They are. And then there's progressive muscle relaxation, where you tense and release different muscle groups. Guided sleep meditations are great too.
And visualization techniques, right, like picturing a peaceful place.
Exactly. And don't forget about gratitude journaling. Even just 5 or 10 minutes of any of these practices can make a huge difference.
Now, the final step in building a routine is exploring natural sleep aids. This is something a lot of people are curious about.
It is. The guide mentions a few supplements that some people find helpful, like melatonin for resetting your body clock, magnesium for relaxation, L-theanine for calming without drowsiness, and ashwagandha for stress management.
So there are some natural options out there. But the guide is very clear that you should always talk to your doctor before starting any new supplements.
Absolutely. Even though they're natural, they can still have side effects or interact with other medications. It's always best to be safe.
Okay, now, the last thing I want to talk about is this idea of productivity in your evening routine. Because it seems a bit counterintuitive. Shouldn't evenings be all about winding down?
It does seem that way, right? But the guide makes a good point. It's not about cramming in work or being super productive right before bed. It's more about setting yourself up for a smoother, more successful tomorrow.
So it's about doing those little things that can make a big difference in the morning.
Exactly. A solid evening routine can help you feel more in control and less overwhelmed when you wake up. It gives you a chance to reflect on the day, plan for tomorrow, and go to sleep feeling more prepared.
I like that. So what are some examples of these productive evening habits?
One thing the guide suggests is taking a few minutes to review your calendar and make a list of your top priorities for tomorrow.
So you wake up knowing exactly what you need to focus on.
Exactly. Another thing is tidying up your space a bit, just clearing your desk, putting away laundry, those little things that make your environment feel more ordered.
Makes sense. And what about mental preparation?
The guide talks about reflecting on the day and maybe journaling about what went well or what you could improve on. And then instead of focusing on tasks, try setting intentions for the next day. How do you want to feel? What kind of impact do you want to make?
I like that. It's more about mindset than a to-do list.
Right. And lastly, you can prepare your physical environment for the morning. Pack your gym bag, get breakfast ready, anything that helps you start the day off right.
So it's all about those little actions that can make a big difference.
Yeah.
Now, what should we avoid doing in the evening if we want to stay productive but still relaxed?
Definitely avoid working right up until bedtime. That's a surefire way to keep your mind racing. And try not to overload yourself with chores.
Yeah, it's not about being super productive. It's about being intentional.
Exactly. And definitely don't sacrifice your wind down time. Those relaxation practices are essential.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground here. Now, the guide also has a section on frequently asked questions. I think this will be really helpful for our listeners. One of the first questions is about the best time to start your evening routine.
The recommendation is to start about an hour, maybe 90 minutes before bed. That gives your body and mind enough time to transition into a more relaxed state.
So if you want to be asleep by 10:30, start winding down around 9:00.
Exactly. Another common question is whether you can watch TV at all in the evening.
Because, let's be real, that's how a lot of people like to unwind.
It's totally understandable, and it's not a complete no-go. But the key is to finish at least an hour before bed.
Okay, no falling asleep with the TV on.
Right. And use those blue light filters, keep the volume down, and choose something calming to watch.
Now, what about people who have really busy or unpredictable schedules? How can they even think about having a consistent routine?
The guide actually has some great advice for this. It emphasizes starting small. Even if you only have 15 or 20 minutes, pick one or two calming activities you can do consistently, like turning off your devices or having a cup of herbal tea.
So it's about finding those little pockets of time and making the most of them.
Exactly. Consistency is key, even if it's just a few minutes. And then you can gradually build on that as your schedule allows.
That's reassuring. And the last question is about how long an evening routine should be.
The guide says it can range from 30 to 90 minutes, depending on your lifestyle and what works for you. But the most important thing is consistency and intentionality.
Even 20 minutes of dedicated wind down time can make a difference.
Absolutely. It's about finding what feels good for you and sticking with it.
Well, this deep dive has been incredibly insightful. It really highlights how important a solid evening routine is.
It's not just about feeling good. It's about supporting our physical and mental health.
And it doesn't have to be this complicated, overwhelming thing. It's about finding those little habits that work for you and being consistent.
Exactly. Start small, experiment, and find what feels good. You might be surprised at how much of a difference it makes.
So, for our listeners, as you're thinking about this, maybe choose one or two small things you can try tonight. Turn off your screens a bit earlier, try a breathing exercise, anything that feels manageable. And then pay attention to how you sleep and how you feel the next day.
Think of it as a little self-care experiment. You might just discover a new level of rest and energy you didn't even know you had.
And that's a great note to end on. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the power of evening routines. We'll see you next time.
Thanks for tuning in to the Scenario Podcast. Don't forget to visit scenario.com for more expert tips, articles, and supplements designed to support your mental health. If you enjoyed this episode, remember to subscribe and share it with a friend. Until next time, take care of yourself.